Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now this is a response to a video that James Griffiths did. It's a few weeks ago anyway. In fact, it's 3.5 years ago. He did a video in March 2018, long before I actually started doing these things myself, on music for pleasure records in his collection. And I always wanted to do one, but I never got around to it. I've always had other things to do. And today I was planning to do a Primitives V Transvision vamp, but I can't find one of the CDs. So I thought, right, I'll leave that till next week and I'll do this Music for Pleasure one and get it over with. So Music for Pleasure is a budget label that I actually love, and the reason why I love it is the quality was excellent. It wasn't just any old guff thrown out. They did actually release major artists like John Lennon was on Music for Pleasure with a reissue of Mind Games and Rock and Roll. Pink Floyd, which you will see, got a reissue of one of their albums. George Harrison, even I think it was Dark Horse, was issued on Music for Pleasure. So the quality was good and they were as cheap as chips. And there's one album in particular which I will say is one of my all-time favourite albums, one of the most important albums, and I'm going to leave that there to the end. So I've got about 14 or 15 albums here which I'm going to whiz through. Not all are brilliant, but you know, most of them are. The first one is not brilliant, and I bought it for 33 1/3p, 3 for £1 in the charity shop about 3 years ago, and it's Sheena Easton. And this is You Could Have Been With Me. This is actually her second album, which then got a reissue on Music for Pleasure. There was 3 singles off this, Little Tenderness, You Could Have Been With Me, and the other one is Just Another Broken Heart. It didn't do too well. The singles didn't do too well. The album didn't do too well either. So that's probably why it was transferred to Music for Pleasure. But still, it's a nice cover. But we'll start off with that one. The next one up, and this is another album which was originally released on a proper label rather than a budget reissue label, and this is Don McLean's For the Memories, his 1986 album of various cover versions. And I remember getting this for Christmas. I believe it was Christmas around 86 or 87, and there is an absolutely fantastic version of a white sport coat and a pink carnation on this. He also does a good version of Maybe Baby, Don't, Crazy, Sitting on the Balcony. It's a good album. It's very easy listening, but I do like Don McLean. But his previous couple of albums before this came out with his own songs weren't that fantastic, so I actually really did enjoy this. This is the one most people would have, and this is Pink Floyd Relics, which is a compilation of the first 3 albums plus a couple of singles. So here you get Arnold Layne and See Emily Play, and this is probably the main reason why people bought them, because those were not on any of the LPs. It's a pity the other singles weren't on, but yeah, this is really good. I don't think I've actually seen a copy of this that wasn't Music for Pleasure, apart from the now reissues of 2015 reissues or whatever year they were. So it's always been on the Music for Pleasure label for me anyway. So Pink Floyd and Relics. This one I'm ashamed to say I still haven't played, and I bought this about 2 or 3 years ago. And in fact I am going to leave it out and I'm going to play it after I make this video. And this is the Mamas and the Papas 20 Greatest Hits on MFP. Now I do know the songs, obviously. California Dreamin', dedicated to the one I love, Monday Monday, Dream a Little Dream of Me, and they do other cover versions like Spanish Harlem, Words of Love, Twist and Shout, I Call Your Name, the Lennon McCartney song, which would be interesting to hear. So yeah, in fact I will leave this out and give this a spin after I make this video. There, I'm putting it down this side. This one here is very good, and this is The Most of Hermans Hermits. And this is just really a greatest hits with There's a Kind of Hush, Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. I think that sounds so creepy, but anyway, I'm Henry VIII I Am, which I always think is great fun. and the big one, which is I'm Into Something Good. This is actually a really good album. It is pop, it's 60s pop, but I think these boys were massive in America, more so in America than they were here. So Hermans Hermits, the most off on Music for Pleasure. Del Shannon, and this is just Del Shannon, 16 great tracks, rock and roll greats, and this is a fantastic greatest hits LP. So you do have every Del Shannon compilation starts off with Runaway, and the second song is always Hats Off to Larry. But the ones I really like off this, I love the Swiss Maid and Hey Little Girl. I think it's a magnificent track, and Keep Searching Will Follow the Sun. So it takes in the big hits really from Runaway through to about 1962-63. So Del Shannon, rock and roll greats on MPF. This one here I think is very important. This is half an album by the Sweet and half an album by the Pipkins. Now the Pipkins were the ones that sang Gimme That Ding, which was written by Albert Hammond. There's another Albert Hammond song off this as well, The People That You Wanna Phone Ya. But the reason I bought this was for the Sweet songs, which were the singles that were released before they signed for RCA. And funny enough, there's another Albert Hammond song off this, The Lollipop Man. Yeah, so very good. You get Lollipop Man, Time, All You'll Ever Get From Me, which is a very good song. The Juicer, which is a great song, Get On The Line, and Mr. McAllister. So yeah, I really needed this. Those are the only ones I believe they recorded before they signed RCA. So, and this was cheap as chips as well. Only managed to get this a couple of years ago. So great addition to the Sweet collection. The Seekers. Now the Seekers always ended up on budget labels, which is, I'm going to say a shame, but it's no shame to be in Music for Pleasure. And this is a good album because it takes in a lot of the very early stuff before they had the big hit with You'll Never Find Another You, or I'll Never Find Another You. So you get things like Whiskey in the Jar, 500 Miles South Australia, With My Swag All on My Shoulder, The Wreck of Old 97, Danny Boy. So yeah, it's a good album. I bought this because I think it was about 50p, and it was just to add to the collection. I have all these songs anyway on Reader's Digest box set. So the Seekers, roving with the Seekers. The Beach Boys, Live in London, and now this is a reissue from an album which is probably on either Capitol or their brothers label, whatever you call it. This is a really good album. It's like a greatest hits live, so you get Darling, Wouldn't It Be Nice, Slip John B, Do It Again, Wake the World, Aren't You Glad, I'm not too sure of those. On the other side, Bluebirds Over the Mountain, Their Hearts Were Full of Spring, Good Vibrations, God Only Knows, and Barbara Ann, and it sounds really, really good. So Beach Boys, Live in London on Music for Pleasure. This is another very common one you will see in most record fairs, and this is The Most of the Animals, and this is really the Animals' greatest hits. My brother bought this back in the 80s, and I think this came out around 1971 or so. But yeah, House of the Rising Sun, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, Roadrunner, Let the Good Times Roll, all excellent songs. Bring It On Home to Me, I'm Going to Change the World. Yeah, excellent album, and I had to get this in the collection. It's the only Animals I have, and really it's the only Animals that I want. This here, Greatest Hits by The Equals, absolutely excellent album. I picked this up from a record fair a few years ago. I have to say I haven't been to a record fair in nearly 2 years now because of the pandemic, but this has Baby Come Back, the #1 hit on it, Rub-a-Dub-Dub, which is a great little single, Viva Bobby Joe, Black Skin Blue Eyed Boys. Yeah, this is the band, the multiracial band that Eddie Grant was the main writer for. Very, very good. I have a couple of their albums on the President label, but they're not in fantastic condition, but they're quite pricey. But this here is an excellent introduction to the Equals, and I do really like Eddie Grant as well. The Drifters. Now I showed this album on my Spotlight on the Drifters. This is a music for pleasure comp that came out in the early to mid 80s of their Bell recordings, and it is magnificent. So it starts off with Hello Happiness, the LP version rather than the single version. A Kiss in the Back Row of the Movies. It's got Every Night on it. Sweet Caroline, which I keep on going on, is the best version of that ever. Save the Last Dance for Me, which is the re-recorded version on the Drifters now. Like Sister and Brother, There Goes My First Love, Harlem Child, You've Got Your Troubles, Love Games, Down on the Beach Tonight. It's absolutely fantastic compilation album of the Bell years. So that's the Drifters. We're coming down to very nearly the end here. Alvin Stardust, and this is Rock On with Alvin. And this is like a 1980 compilation. Now Alvin Stardust was very successful in 1974, and then partially successful in 75, and then he just fell to nothing. But this picks up all the singles like My Cuckoo, Tell Me Why, You, Jealous Mind, Come On, Red Dress. Well, Come On wasn't really a hit single. But unfortunately it gives the wrong version again of Good Love Can Never Die. It gives the LP version, which is a shame. But this is a very good Alvin Stardust greatest hits of his glammy type years. So yeah, rock on with Alvin. This one I think James showed, and this is The Move, Fire Brigade. And this is another very good comp. It's very basic comp. You get some of the earlier singles like Flowers in the Rain, Fire Brigade, Wild Tiger Woman, the most underrated Move single, Blackberry Way, Curly, Walk Upon the Water I think was the B-side. And then you get a couple of the heavier ones like When Alice Comes Back to the Farm and Brontosaurus, as well as Beautiful Daughter, the very McCartney-esque track from Shazam. It's a good album, and you'll see this everywhere as well, in second-hand bins. I think it's sold quite well. So that's Fire Brigade by The Move. But even more important for me is this one, which came out in the mid-80s, and this is Roy Wood, the best of 74 or 70 to 74. Now this has The Move on it. It has Roy Wood solo, and it has Wizard. So I'll just go through the full track listing here. Ballpark Incident, Tonight, Brontosaurus, Until Your Mama's Gone, Angel Fingers, When Grandma Plays the Banjo, and California Man. That's all side 1. Side 2, See My Baby Jive, Chinatown, Dear Elaine, When Alice Comes Back to the Farm Again, Forever, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, and Going Down the Road, a Scottish reggae song. This is an absolutely fantastic compilation of his material from 70 to 74. So Roy Wood, 14 great tracks, the best of 70 to 74. And the big one for me, and this is the most important one, and this is TRex, Ride a White Swan. Now this is kind of a reissue of best of TRex. There was 3 tracks in that they took off, Blessed White Apple Girl, Once Upon the Seas of Abyssinia, and Find a Little Wood. And they made this album and they added Ride a White Swan. The running order of all other songs are exactly the same, and this is the one I bought off my cousin for 10p, and this is the album that really got me into TRex and really into music again at the start of 1980. I absolutely love it. Ride a White Swan, Deborah, Child Star, Cat Black, Consuela, fantastic song, Strange Orchestras, Side 2, 1 Inch Rock, Salabanda Palaganda, Lofty Skies, Stacey Grove, King of the Rumbling Spires, and Elemental Child. Now this here is not the copy that I got. This is an upgrade that I got about 6 months ago. It deserved an upgrade because the other one was a little bit scratchy. And then I just found out that this actually has like a glossy cover, whereas the other one has like a matted cover. So I've got the both of them now. Fantastic album. This would be one of the 10 most important albums for me. So TRex, Ride a White Swan, Music for Pleasure, absolutely brilliant album. Okay, so that's my look at all of my Music for Pleasure albums. I do have a couple of soundtrack ones which, like Oliver, but I'm not even going to show those. Those are picked up for next to nothing. I'll probably get rid of them anyway. But Music for Pleasure, fantastic label, better than Pickwick, although Pickwick wasn't too bad either. But quality was the word for MFP. Okay, that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.